We've all met someone who talks endlessly about making it big. They have the millionaire mindset, but year after year, absolutely nothing ever changes. Most of us have our own version of this, a mental graveyard filled with unstarted projects and abandoned million-dollar ideas that never left the internal pitch meeting. It's tempting to label this as laziness, assuming that a chronic failure to launch is simply a lack of drive or ambition. Psychology suggests a more complex mechanism. This isn't a lack of energy, it's a hidden defense system that the brain runs to actively prevent the start of work. To bypass these biological roadblocks, we have to dissect the chronological life cycle of a failed goal. We need to track the path from the exact second an idea is born to the moment it dies. In the inception phase, the dream is at its most intoxicating. Simply pitching a new identity to yourself creates an immediate buzz of future success. When you imagine nailing your goals, your brain delivers a hit of satisfaction. You experience the reward of winning without doing the work. Getting this achievement up front kills urgency. Your body feels the mission is accomplished, so the motivation to start building dissolves. This creates a massive gap between the instant high of the daydream and the slow, repetitive reality of the daily effort. Many stay hooked on the idea of who they could be because that fantasy feels better than facing real-world friction. They choose the buzz of potential over the discomfort of the grind. The first point of failure happens here, when the brain accepts the emotional reward of the fantasy as a substitute for the actual hustle. If the goal survives the initial trap, it moves into the preparation phase. This is where the sheer scale of the work triggers a subconscious panic. To protect the ego from the possibility of falling flat on its face, the brain uses a clever stalling tactic disguised as planning. As long as you stay in the research or mapping phase, the dream remains perfect. If you never take a swing, you protect yourself from ever striking out. This quickly spirals into analysis paralysis. You overthink every step and run mental marathons. Worrying about the work is just as taxing as doing it. All that mental rumination drains your battery before you've even moved an inch. By the time action is required, you are burned out from fake productivity. The goal dies here because you've exhausted your energy on a map you never intended to follow. For the few who reach the execution phase, a final invisible wall appears. Most people stop here because they are waiting to feel ready. Psychology shows that readiness is a lagging indicator. It is a feeling that kicks in after you take the plunge, not a prerequisite for jumping. The brain hits the emergency brake because it views your current self-image as a safe baseline. Any action that threatens to change who you are is treated as a threat to your survival. If you secretly identify as a procrastinator, your brain will fight to keep you in that familiar role. Stepping into a high-performance routine feels like a death of your old self, and your mind will sabotage your efforts to protect that old identity. Execution fails because the brain prefers the comfort of a known failure over the uncertainty of becoming a completely different person. Pitching big dreams is a universal human trait, but moving from just talk to reality is exceptionally rare. The daily grind requires you to go to war with your own biology and resist the urge to retreat into easy, pain-free fantasies. Success is the result of showing up when the stars refuse to align and the perfect time never arrives. Confidence and readiness are built through the work itself. You have to start the engine before the dashboard lights turn on. Turning a goal into a reality requires stepping out of the protection of the planning phase and enduring the boring, repetitive work, especially when your own mind is screaming at you to stop.